Thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, support the show by joining the Nerd On Nation powered by Patreon. Go to nerdon.tv/Patreon and get Nerd On exclusives for as little as $1 a month.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Nerd On. My name is Tom, and today we're doing another tech deck profile, whatever you want to call these things. I got today one of my favorite commanders that I'm ever playing with. You click the thing, you saw the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about. This is how I decided to do frogs, and I've been trying to research this for such a long time. Our commander today is Grolnok the Omnivore. So I really wanted to talk about this commander in particular, Grolnok the Omnivore. It's become one of my favorite decks and a deck that I'm becoming quite well known for within my pod because it came together through jank means and just pulling together every frog that I could buy and find, and frogs were really cheap before Bloomborough. But Grolnok the Omnivore is a Simic commander, and normally I play Grixis, but the Simic value was funny to play with. But even then, this deck is kind of just not like your typical deck, and I like the whole philosophy behind it because it's pretty dumb and funny. But Grolnok the Omnivore, again, like most commanders at this point, are their engines in themselves. And so this commander says, whenever a frog you control attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever a permanent is put into your graveyard from your library, exile it with a croak counter on it. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards you own in exile with croak counters on them. So this deck has only three instants or sorceries. Everything else is a permanent. Lands, enchantments, artifacts, creatures. I was thinking about putting a Planeswalker in there because now we have that new Nissa one. But what I want to do today is show you through the key pieces of the deck, which are creatures, artifacts, enchantments, the ramp, and the draw, X, Y, and Z. And then we'll go over the game plan as well as some test hands so you can see how it is. And if you want to introduce this to your pod, then I'm glad to have brought this to you. I know we all like Glarb, the Augur of Calamity, who started the problems in Bloomborough. He's cool. I really wanted a Sultai frog that cares about frogs. Glarb doesn't really care about frogs. He cares more about CMCs and surveilling and throwing stuff in the graveyard. Yes, you can make like a frog deck with like the Gitrog and Yargle Multani, which I wanted to do. The fact that I lose black with Grolnok makes me very sad because I don't get Psychic Frog. I don't get, again, Gitrog. There's a lot of really cool Golgari as well as Dimir frogs that I really want. But Grolnok here, again, it's pretty funny. I like playing it a lot. A lot of people always get mad when I play it because I'm just like, it's just frogs. But then I make the frogs into bigger things, and I do a lot of funny, cheeky stuff with card advantage. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about frog. It's a frog deck, and of course there are 30 frogs in here, but the ones that tend to overperform or just do very well will be these guys here. Now, for every frog deck, you need to have your Spore Frog. Your Spore Frog is just going to be great because you need to have some kind of deterrent, some kind of instant, like, okay, cool, no one kills me, no one attacks me. The Haze Frog is bigger, it costs way more, but it has flash, so it is allowable to do like in response. You can put it on the field unless someone counters it, but it's a secondary Spore Frog fog effect that you have. The Long River Lurker, Ward 1, other frogs you have Ward 1. Huge. Thank you, Bloomborough, for bringing this frog, this uncommon frog, to the forefront, because before, if you play this commander and you played it enough times, you are going to get targeted. The commander's going to get removed. Now you just have a little baby deterrent. Whenever the Long River Lurker enters, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever that creature deals climate damage this turn, you may exile it. If you do, return to the battlefield. So obviously a lot of the Bloomborough frogs care about like bouncing and flickering and blinking. Grolnok could be cool. It'd be that target so it doesn't get attacked, and then you do some commander damage with it. Jade Avenger, a 2-drop. Again, cool thing about frogs is they tend to be pretty low in drops. But Jade Avenger, Bushido 2. Whenever this creature blocks or becomes blocked, it gets 2/2 until end of turn. So it's a 4/4 if people decide to block. So most of the time, people just want to let it through. And again, Grolnok only cares about an attack trigger, right? So it doesn't care about the combat damage. It just cares if your frogs are attacking. Poison Dart Frog, a lot of people will discount this being like it's a kind of a bad mana dork, but I'm like, look, it has reach for 2. I can give it Death Touch, which tends to be a good deterrent. Rampant Frogantua, another new guy that came out recently, gets 10/10 for each player that lost the game. I have never, ever been able to play this card when it mattered, but I think it's just a cool 2-drop, and as well as like a cool, like, you know, Grolnok may not always win, but it tends to be kind of like one of the first, like one of the last ones to remain on the board. Graz, I think, is one of the funniest cards. It breaks the ideology, but just imagine all these frogs are on the field, and then I slam out Graz, the unstoppable Juggernaut. Juggernauts I control each attack each combat if able. Juggernauts I control can't be blocked by walls. Other creatures I control have base power 5/3 and are Juggernauts. So again, Grolnok really cares about frogs attacking. Now they're also Juggernauts in addition to their creature type. So they're Juggernaut frogs, and they have to attack. So I'm always swinging all the time. This is a very swingy deck. I play this deck very much like an aggro control deck, Grixis, right? And then every frog needs their princess, and Azusa Lost But Seeking, I may play 2 additional lands each turn. So the way the deck really works and gets its value is I get some frogs out, I get Grolnok out, and I start swinging. I am milling 3 to 9 cards every turn, and then I play those cards on my next turns. So let's talk about the ways that I can manipulate those. Mill. Because the way that Grolnok works, again, whenever a permanent card is put from my graveyard to my library, it's not if I discard cards, and it's not cards that are destroyed on the battlefield. It's cards strictly going from the library into the graveyard. And so Waterlogged Hulk, mill a card, tap it, mill a card. It's just a 1-drop, I mill an additional one. You know, that's like, it's kind of like card draw at that point. It's like tap it, draw a card. Because if it's a permanent, it'll go straight to my exile with the Crow counter. Fraying Sanity, a lot of people get real crazy when when they see this. Because normally you think, okay, you're going to enchant someone else and they're going to mill themselves out. No, I'm trying to mill myself out, baby. And then, so pretty much like, let's say I have 1 frog attack. And then at the beginning of my end step, enchanted player, myself, mills X cards. So I'm going to mill 3 more cards where X is the number of cards put into the graveyard from anywhere this turn. So they put to the graveyard, then they go to exile. So it'll see those 3 and then put another 3. So I have milled 6. Now imagine if I had 2 frogs, now I've milled 12. So it exponentially gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and not a lot of people like that. Curse of Blade Tome, enchant player, usually myself. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, that player puts top 2 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. Even if I don't have a frog out that can attack because I don't want to like sacrifice Grolnok maybe, I can just start milling myself. Now, the scary thing is if Grolnok is not on the field, these are just going to mill me and they're going to go to the graveyard and I'm going to have no way to get them back. So like this is a very glass cannon-y deck. So that's something to be careful about. Let's talk about the inspirations, win cons, and spices that allow me to actually win. So Eldrazi Conscription, of course, is a very brutal card. Bow of Nylea, Spider Umbra, Security Bypass, Dolmen Gate, Quietus Spike, Aqueous Form, Commander's Fear, and Thassa's Oracle. I'm going to start real quick and say this whole deck was based off of this one's Commander's Fear. I was buying cards online, and then I saw that there was this Commander's Fear that was a frog. And I was like, that is so funny looking. And as a kid, I always loved frogs. And so I was like, I wonder if there's a whole frog deck. And then, you know, I had started playing Kindred or tribal decks for a long time. So like, I was just like, okay, let me figure out and see if I can do this and make a deck. Because I think that's the best thing about Commander is that you could just really express yourself however you want to. And then also challenge yourself on the deck master building, right? So Commander's Fear is literally the impetus of this deck. We'll go backwards. And Thassa's Oracle, obviously, if I'm milling myself out and I can play cards from my exile that are permanents, at some point, if I get about 13, 15 or so loyalty to blue, or I'm about to just mill out, I can cast Thassa's Oracle, and then I win. It's kind of cheap, I'm not going to lie, but like, there's not other win cons in the deck, as you can see. Like Dolmen Gate, like prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures I control. It just makes my creatures kind of indestructible a little bit. Obviously, just prevents that damage. Aqueous Form and Security Bypass just allow my frogs to attack without worrying about getting destroyed because they're unblockable. I get some scry out of it, and the other one connive. So getting more cards in hand or top deck manipulation. The Spider Umbra, I don't have Lightning Greaves or any of the boots in the deck because I just didn't want the deck to have so much protection for Grolnok where like I'm more worried about protecting him than swinging with other creatures. Because when you start doing that, you start building biases for people who you're playing with. They're like, okay, cool, you're trying to protect your guy, we're going to remove him as much as possible. So if I kind of leave him out and be like, cool, he's easily able to be removed, people are not going to actually go for it. They'll find something else that someone else is trying to protect much more, even though Grolnok absolutely is the linchpin. Boa Nylea makes all my creatures have death touch, or attacking creatures at least. And then I can put up 1/1 counter on a creature, or could do 2 damage to a target creature with flying, or I can gain 3 life. So Boa Nylea is just great, especially in a deck that you want to attack with a lot of creatures. Quietus Spike. Equipped creature has death touch. I have been able to swing with somebody that had a Quietus Spike and the Eldrazi Conscription at the same time, which was just kind of really mean. But it happened so fast, and I was like, how do I say no to having an Eldrazi conscripted frog? Now Eldrazi Conscription, if you don't know it already, it's an aura and it gives the creature 10/10, and they get trample and annihilator. So you could put it on your commander and give him the Quietus Spike, and then give him Aqueous Form or something like that. So it's like it swings, it does it does damage, and then a third of their life goes away, and it's like, and then the Annihilator happens. So it's pretty crazy. Like when this card comes out paired with the Juggernauts, it's kind of like, okay, those were just frogs and now they're nightmares. And it's like, yep, that's exactly how this deck is. Like I start building value, and then you know, if you curve out to the proper place, you'd be able to cast that Eldrazi Conscription. Let's talk about removal as well as like a little bit of the flavor. So I have Frogify, Amphibian Downpour, Stasis Field, Casmia's Transmutation, Imprison on the Moon, Polymorph's Jest, Croaking Counterpart, and Turn to Frog. So again, this deck was really hard to kind of first think about because it's like, okay, permanents, right? And again, I cared about frogs. I just wanted to make a frog deck, and I was thinking really, really hard of being like, okay, I lose the Cyclonic Rifts. I don't have Rhystic Study in here. I don't have Mystic Remora. I could, if I really wanted to like get all the great value. I used to have Kindred Discovery in here, but you know, Guardian Project's in here. Garruk's Uprising doesn't really work because it's pretty, like all the frogs are pretty small, like they're not stronger than 4/4, so it's like, okay, well, I won't actually be getting Garruk's Uprising, and then Kindred Discovery on top of Guardian Project didn't really do much for me. But we have Casmia's Transmutation. I know Casmia isn't a frog, but it does turn someone else's commander or something else into a 1/1 and lose all abilities. Stasis Field, same thing. So the kind of theme of my removal was, I have frogs, now you have frogs. And with Amphibian Downpour, oh, thank you. Whoever printed this, whoever made this and designed this, thank you. This was purely for this deck because it has flash. And again, this deck, so many problems with any type of responses or trying to do things at instant speed because everything's a permanent, and there's not many permanents unless I have flash or buyback if they're like, you know, Croaking Counterpart that, you know, I can do something from the grave, especially if they're instants or sorceries, because they get exiled. But anyways, Amphibian Downpour, Flash, Storm, enchant creature, lose all abilities, and is a blue frog. So I make frogs, Polymorph Jest until end of turn. Each creature target controls lose all abilities and becomes blue frogs. Turn to Frog. Until end of turn, target creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog. Frogify. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog. I kind of just love it because it's just so funny. It's just like really funny that like your only answer is to turn my things into frogs, and 2 of them only do it for like a turn, or 3 of them only do it for a turn. Or no, Croaking Counterpart, I make a frog. So I can make a frog of someone else's creature, which is pretty cool. So I can make a copy of someone else's like Shieldred the Apocalypse, you know, whatever, you know, mean stuff I want to make. Imprison on the Moon, I know it's a very mean card to play, but like this deck, again, it's just frogs, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but like I just have other frogs that I'm just like, they're not threats in themselves. The threat is when they swing out all together, then I start drawing a lot of my stuff, and I can play lands, and I can, I'm hitting my land drops, and I'm finding the best cheap artifacts and enchantments that I have. With that, let's go ahead and check out some hands and then see how the deck plays, so you guys can see how it actually all works. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and try to play this with a test hand. We're shuffled up. Let's go ahead and just see what we get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll see what we got. We got 1 land, 2 land. We got all right, 3 lands. No ramp, but that's fine. That kind of happens. But I think this is a playable hand. It's not super fast, and that's okay. We need it to be fast. But you'll see how the deck runs. We will draw for turn. We got Aqua's Form. Very good. Okay, so we're going to start out with a Hidden Grotto. Ooh, Hidden Grotto. Or, yeah, Hidden Grotto. Enters a Surveil 1. It's a Soul Ring. We're going to keep that on top, baby. I just want to make sure everyone saw that Soul Ring. That Soul Ring right there. I didn't manipulate, but that's what I'm doing. Cool. And then, we'll pass go. We'll go to the second turn. We'll draw for turn. Draw that beautiful Soul Ring. So now we have some decisions to make. We'll tap the command tower. We'll tap for a colorless, put the Soul Ring, and then let's go ahead and put out the let's just do 1, 2, 3 for Kefnit's Monument. We're gonna do a setup. Now Kefnit's Monument, whenever I play a blue creature, I'm gonna keep a creature tapped, that is tapped. And now all my blue creatures cost 1 less. So now my Grolnok costs 1 less. Cool. So we're going to untap for turn 3. Whoops. Turn 3. We'll draw for turn. Cool. We're hitting our lands. Let's put the Yavimaya Coast out because it doesn't tap. It doesn't come in tapped. Let's now we have some options. Let's just bring the commander, huh? Let's bring the commander. Tap 1 for green or for ooh. I still have to pay the cost thing, so let's do the 1 damage to ourselves. We can always take the 1 damage. I have 1 floating still. Ooh, yes. Let's actually do this. I'll tap this and then put the Aqueous Form on on Grolnok. So turn 3, have again Soul Ring. It's not a real, real life example, but we can see how it works out. So now we're done with the turn. We don't have anything to do. We'll go to turn 4. We'll untap everything, and then we'll draw. Cool. So we have a Simic Growth Chamber and a Vine Glimmer Snarl. Okay, so what we should do is probably tap for a green, and then tap for colorless. Let's tap for a blue. So I have blue, 1 other, and a green. And then we'll tap another one for 1 other. So I'll use the blue, the 1 other, and another one. For the long... Ooh, no. So blue. So this gives it blue. And then this gives it another. And then that costs 1 less. And this will be a green and 1 other for the Soul Ring. And then we'll play the Jade Avenger. So now I have 2 frogs. All my frogs have ward. This creature can't be blocked. That's fine. So we'll Grolnok swing. So whenever it attacks, scry 1. Bloodline Pretender. Do I have other frogs in hand? I don't. So that's fine. We'll keep it. And then the Grolnok attack trigger. Our frog attack. So Bloodline Pretender. Lily Splash Mentor and Moss Diamond get milled. They're all permanent, so they'll go to my exile, which I'll leave up here so you guys can see it. In exile. So they'll be in exile. And then that's it. That's the end of the turn. Oh, I cast a thing. Let's say I keep one of my opponent's creatures tapped. Let's go to turn 5. We'll untap. We'll draw. Okay, so oh, I didn't play a land for turn. I should have played that Simic Growth Chamber. That's fine. It's a misplay on me, which is fine. So let's go ahead and tap 1, 2, and we'll make the Moss Diamond come in tapped. I'll put the Simic Growth Chamber. I'll bring the Hidden Grotto back to my hand, And then now we'll have 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3. We'll play Croconura. It has Reach and Explore. So you can see the board gets pretty packed. The board gets pretty packed because I'm going to bring a lot of creatures out of here. And I played a creature from my exile because I have Grolnok out of there. Or I played a Moss Diamond from exile. So let's go ahead and do the swings. I'm going to go ahead and swing the Grolnok and the Jade Avenger. Doesn't matter. All I want is the attack trigger. So Imprison on the Moon, Sky Diamond, Simic Signet, Frog Tongue, Force Adaptation, and Guardian Project. So these 6. So I exile 6. Because whenever a frog controls attacks, yes, a frog. So we'll do that. So I'll have 6 in exile. Because they're all permanents, baby. And they're all going to hit the field next turn. So we're on turn 5. We'll go ahead and end turn. We'll come back and untap. We'll go to turn 6. So by turn 6, this is what our board looks like, right? We threw up a bunch of stuff. We got stuff we'll draw for turn. Curse of the Blade Tome. Very good. A good setup, right? So let's go ahead. We want to use mana this turn. Well, let's use mana this turn. So we'll Hidden Grotto. We'll Surveil. I could put on top. Surveil is actually really good because I can just throw things into the graveyard. And if it's a permanent, with Grolnok out, they'll just go straight to exile. So, you know, I could dig deeper in my deck. Let's actually dig deeper. Let's go ahead and exile. Let's go ahead and Surveil it, and then it goes in. So let's go ahead and tap 1, 2 for a Simic Signet. Let's tap 1, 2 for a Sky Diamond. So now I just have all the ramp in the world. And let's tap another. There's so many things to do. Should we play a frog? We should play a frog, right? So I'll tap 1, 2, 3, 4 for a Lily Splash. Ooh, actually, I only have to pay 1, 2, 3 because Kefnit's Monument makes it 1 less. So maybe I should play. Yeah, we'll just play that. We'll just go with that. I stun another person's thing. Again, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in exile. Now at this point, I'll swing, 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 and then I'll attack trigger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now there's always an argument that I should probably be swinging first and then playing after that, but you know, again, look at the board now. It's kind of getting unwieldy with how much frogs I have. And again, you know, this deck isn't super resilient. Obviously frogs don't cost too much, and the moment I get Grolnok back out, all these guys can, you know, get played again. But you know, board wipes and then target removal do hit the deck pretty hard, and that's why there's 30 frogs in there. Let's go ahead and try to get another hand. Okay, let's try this hand. 7. All right, this is a very similar hand, but it's got some ramp in there. We'll keep it. We'll play the commander. Okay, so we'll keep this hand. It's got 3 lands, 4 lands, some rampy, and some discounts. So we'll draw for turn 1. Okay, let's go ahead and play a Terramorphic Expanse, and we'll crack it for a. We'll crack it for a forest. Now the funny thing about lands is that I only run 28 lands in here. Now that's a very, very brutal thing, because yes, you can definitely abuse it by being like, cool, I'll keep mulliganing and all that stuff. But the way the deck works, it's very much reliant on the fact that like I'll be getting my land drops no matter what. Now you can say that is borderline kind of cheating, especially within my pods. But again, we're very casual. There is no fast mana. There's no like duels or shocks or anything like that. They're basically just, you know, Command Tower, Terramorphic Expanse, Mirrored Landscape, Exotic Orchards, you know, Path of Ancestry. Lands you'd find in a precon. Fabled Passage is in there. And I think that's like the craziest land I have. But so yeah, it's this way, and you can say in the comments if you think that's like borderline too much. For these graveyard things, I'm going to put them to the side so you won't see them, but because I don't interact with my graveyard anymore. Okay, we'll go to turn 2, and then we'll go ahead and draw a card. It's an Evolving Wilds, like I said. We'll untap it. We'll Evolving Wilds, and I'll go get an island. So, again, I don't have crazy lands in this deck. It's all about the creatures and about the synergy with the commander. So it's not about the tundras or flooded wasteland, whatever they're called. I don't have any. Do I have any rituals? I don't have any rituals in here. I think I have one enchantment ritual thingy. So yeah, there's that. Do I get screwed for mana? Most of the time, again, if you mulligan into a hand where like I can play the game, not really. Like, because as long as I get my first attack, it's pretty good. Okay, so island comes out. Then we'll go to turn 3. I'll draw. Poison Dart Frog. Okay, so let's go ahead and play the command tower. And I have some options. Let's go ahead and let's ramp a little bit. Yeah? Let's ramp. Decanter of Endless Water. And then we'll end the turn. We'll go to turn 4. See, it's not super fast all the time, which is fine. Again, I prefer a casual game where not everyone's rocketing to the moon on turn 2. We'll draw. Stasis Field. Okay, then we'll play an island for turn. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available. Let's get some creatures out first before we play anything. So 1, 2, 3 for Kefnit's Monument again. Command Tower, Island. And we'll do the Poison Dart Frog. It's not a blue creature, so the Kefnit's Monument doesn't activate or have an ability. So yeah, now we have some frogs out. We'll go to turn 5. Turn 5, untap. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll draw for turn. And then we'll play the Overflowing Basin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So let's go ahead and play 1, 2, 3. I'll bring the Grolnok out. It is a blue creature, so it does get a discount. And then let's go ahead and we'll just go ahead and probably swing at somebody, and if someone wants to block it, I'll give it poison, or I'll give it death touch. So no one's probably going to block it, which will allow me to get my my attack trigger, Jade Avenger, and Guardian Project, and Waterspout Warden. Those look familiar, so we'll keep those up here. And then we'll go to end turn. So we'll untap. Now we'll go to turn 6. And then I'll draw. It was not a land, which is fine. Do I have anything I want to play there? Let's go ahead. I think I want to just bring out as many frogs as possible. So I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 for Guardian Project. And then, oops, actually I'll play it this way. Or can I? Green, green. Yeah, okay, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll use Command Tower and Forest to bring out the Jade Avenger. Guardian Project will allow me to draw. And I drew a Casmina's Transmutation. So nothing great. Not a blue creature anyway, so just some card draw. And then at this point, I'll probably swing both at whatever's open. And then I'll 1 attack trigger, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now these hit the graveyard. I'll play a Hinterland Harbor for turn out of my exile with the croak counters. So all these have croak counters now. So everyone starts looking at like, oh, this is how big your hand is at this point. And people start getting mad. So I get it. But yeah, so you can see how this deck works. I attack with frogs. I exile. We'll do one more test hand to see how it looks like. Okay, let's try this hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should really figure out my mic placement because I have to like dance around this mic. But anyways, okay. It's not 3 lands, but I do have a Poison Dart Frog. We should try to keep it. This might be a bad hand. This might be a bad hand, but we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. Let's reset the counter back to 1. Grolnok. Okay, let's draw for turn. Land, please. Nope, not a land. The Barog Befuddler. That's fine. So let's go ahead and do a island. And then we'll pass. So we'll go to turn 2. We'll draw for turn. And then Guardian Project, another card we've seen before. Okay, so this is bad. We'll go ahead and do a Fabled Passage. I should have done the Fabled Passage. Crack it. And I'll go get a forest. I was hoping I would get a land. No. Oh, some of my cards are upside down. I hate that. Okay. Oh, that's why they're like that. Okay, we'll shuffle. Again, the scary thing about a deck that only runs 28 lands. Everyone, don't listen to me. Just play 37 lands like you should. I just wanted to go for all the enchantments and artifacts that I could play. And I thought the ramp would help, but here we are. Here we are, y'all. Here we are. I have gotten some of my removal cards, so that's fine. It's hard to play with, with no one against me, but this is all for tech deck and deck profile purposes. So we'll put that deck over here. And we'll put the graveyard away. And then we'll end the turn. I'll untap. We'll go to turn 3. Draw. There's the forest. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and tap 2 for Poison Dart Frog. Just have a creature on the board. And then we'll end turn. We'll go to turn 4. Untap. Draw. Moss Diamond. Okay. So now we're getting the ramp. Let's go ahead and tap 1, 2. Let's do 3 for a Decanter of Water. We'll tap 1, 2 for a Moss Diamond. Okay, so now we're getting the rampage going. We're good. All right, so we'll go to turn 5. We'll untap. We'll draw. Jesus, I'm untapping like a monster. Okay, we'll draw for turn. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll play 5. Let's bring the commander out. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. Bring him out. Bring him out. All right, and then let's go ahead and swing the Poison Dart Frog. Hopefully someone doesn't have anything out. 1, Grolnok to Illimok. 2, 3, Plaxaster Frog. Okay, cool. Some cards we haven't seen. We've seen the Krakenor already, but we'll bring that out. We have nothing that we can play for 1, do we? We do. Let's do that. Let's tap 1. Frog Tongue, another frog flavor. When it comes into play, I draw a card. And now this creature has reach. Draw a card. Cool. Sword of the Animist. That's amazing. That's what we want. Untap. We'll go to turn 6. We'll draw. So this is a little bit slower than we've been seeing before, right? No lands. Let's go ahead and... How about we just tap 2? Play the Sword of the Animist. Equip the Sword of the Animist to Grolnok. Now, it is a 4/4. We'll swing both, just to get both attack triggers. 1, 2. Ooh, no, this is not enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Sorry. So these 6, none of these are sorceries and instants. I'll go ahead and probably grab the... Let's see what we want to grab. What can we play in hand? Something for 2? Probably nothing for 2, so we'll probably grab... Oh, I get an attack trigger for the Sword of the Animist too. So let's go ahead and do a Evolving Wilds and we'll crack it. And then I'll just get 2 of my tapped lands out. We'll get a forest and let's get an island out. So there you go. We get some lands. We got some lands. Evolving Wilds out. So we're sifting through the deck. At this point, unless people are really running really fast decks, people are probably going to be like, "Holy crap! You're getting lands out and doing all these things." I'm like, it takes a while to get all this stuff done, but it is pretty fun to have your wheels spinning. So let's go down tap. Go to turn 7, the furthest we've ever gone so far. We'll untap our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands. We'll draw for turn. Long River Lurker. Let's go ahead. We'll play a land for turn. Let's go ahead and play an island. We're going to tap green, 3 green and 1 blue. We'll tap it for a Guardian Project. Guardian Project is great. Guardian Projects we love. And let's play a frog. Now, why are we changing it up? We're not going to change it. 1, 2, 3. Play the Long River Lurker. We'll draw a card for Guardian Project. It's Croaking Counterpart. And then we're going to go ahead and do the swing. We'll do the swing, grab a land. Will be a forest. And then we'll do the Grolnok trigger. 1, 2, 3. Azusa, Lost But Seeking. So now, if we have anything we can play for 1, we should. But again, so you're seeing how this works. Either the commander attacks, my frogs attack. Ideally, you want your frogs attacking and you want your commander just there to like gain value. But this is it. This is how the deck works. You're swinging a lot and maybe rebuilding the board because everyone's removing the commander. But you're exiling quite a bit, and then you're playing whatever you want from your exile with your commander out. Sorry we didn't get to see anything bigger than that, but you can see how this is and bring it to your pod. Again, I only build this for casual, fun stuff. This isn't meant to be super powerful. I could put fast mana, I could put all the protection I can for Grolnok and have it swing and get multiple attacks or something like that in these colors maybe. But this is just the funniest way and the most enjoyable way I like to play this deck. So let me know what you think. The Moxfield tech, the deck list will be in the description. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, and if you want to play, join our Discord. We'll sign up some spell table for y'all. But until then, thank you for watching. You know the drill. As always, nerd on.